This full moon in Aquarius, this week in general, from the 6th all the way to about the 10th, is a very uncomfortable time. Reason being, on top of this full moon that we have opposing the sun in Leo, we also have Mars that has just entered Libra in opposition to Saturn and Neptune, which are in a Mars ruled sign. So, this is a week to cross your T's, dot your I's, and stay very aware and observant and be very slow to speak. Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, Hidden Alchemy by Sade. My name is Sade, and I am here to give you the astrology for our full moon that we have in the sign of Aquarius. So if it's your first time, welcome to my channel. If not, welcome back. It is always a pleasure for me to let y'all know what is going on because as an alchemist, I like to take the energy and make it work for my greatest good. So I am doing the same for you all. So if you would like to see where this full moon is hitting you in your chart or where these aspects in August are hitting you, feel free to send me a message at info@hiddenalchemybysade.com or just head over to my website, hiddenalchemybysade.com, and you can schedule your consultation. Now, let's go ahead and get into the astro for this week. And whenever I do full moon videos, I don't like to just talk about the full moon itself. I like to talk about the entire energy of the week because full moons are shifts that you can feel days before and days after, not necessarily on the exact day. And when we're dealing with the full moon, that is when the sun and the moon are in opposition. So right now we have the sun that is in the sign of Leo, and then we have the moon that will be in the sign of Aquarius. Leo is a masculine sign, just like Aquarius. However, Leo is ruled by the sun. Okay, it is a fire energy, and it is all about being seen for our creative potential, our creative expression, and using our light to inspire others. And also using our light to hold space for others. Leos, especially people that have a lot of Leo energy, just from my observation of the astrology and just people in my life, Leos like to take care and hold a lot of space for people. They have that energy to do that. And Aquarius is the opposite sign of Leo and does the same exact thing, but on an intellectual level. So Aquarius, also being masculine, is ruled by Uranus as well as Saturn. Saturn is the official ruler of Aquarius. Uranus is the modern ruler. So when we're dealing with Aquarian energy, Aquarius is an air sign, so it rules the intellect. It rules futuristic ways of thinking that assist the collective. So Aquarius is all about community activism, community organization, and finding new ways to do things that are going to be innovative for the future for the sake of humanity. So Aquarius is really, Aquarian can have a God complex, right? But that's just because they're very intelligent. People that have a lot of Aquarian energy are extremely intelligent, just like people who have a lot of Leo energy are extremely vibrant and extremely creative. But Aquarius can have this rep of having a God complex, not because they view themselves as a God necessarily, but because they have this way of understanding patterns to understand the future and understanding how to innovate things to still make it relevant, but make it better. And they're trendsetters in the way that they do things. And with Pluto being in the sign of Aquarius, okay, this is the time for Aquarian energy as well as Leo energy, right? But definitely Aquarian energy of having those genius ideas and really feeling confident in those genius ideas and knowing that you are the trendsetter and you are going to be the catalyst of change for people. So, with this full moon in Aquarius opposing the sun in Leo, this is a time to see yourself. See yourself for the light that you are and let go of group dynamics and group ways of being and thinking that no longer serve because you are no longer the same. And the reason why this is very relevant is because we just had the new moon in July in the sign of Leo, which made a very uncomfortable aspect to Pluto in Aquarius. They were both hitting at the 2 degree. So there was something that came about from that transit of the new moon where maybe you ruffled some feathers, maybe some feathers ruffled you, right? Maybe something was triggered, maybe there was a catalyst of change that you have finally stepped into and taken leadership on and are planting a whole new way of being, because that's what the new moon is for. So now when we have this full moon in Aquarius, that energy is going to come back to the surface, and a full moon sheds light and illuminates. Okay, it illuminates energy that needs to be seen. So, with that being in opposition to Leo, there can be some discomfort in the ways that you used to show up in a group dynamic in a way that you are choosing to show up now. And that can be for other people as well. It might be someone doing that, triggering that within you. Okay. And that's someone stepping into their light, stepping into what makes them unique in order for them to move forward in humanity, because Pluto in Aquarius is showing that we are changing as a collective. And because we are changing as a collective, we now need to change the way we show up as individuals. Now, on top of this full moon in Aquarius, we also have Mars that has just entered into Libra. Mars in Libra, sign wise, makes a beautiful aspect to Aquarius and Leo. Mars in Libra is going to make a trine sign wise. This is not an exact degree, but sign wise, it's going to make a beautiful trine to Aquarius because they're both air. And then sign wise, it's going to make a sextile to Leo because it's air and fire. So Mars in Libra needs us to make action, to take action, because Mars is action oriented and Libra is cardinal. Cardinal signs initiate change. But Mars in Libra is not asking us to take quick action. It's asking us to slow down and think about our words, think about our actions that are going to be better for the sake of our one-on-one relationships. So even though there might be change happening in a group dynamic, you have to be very aware of how your actions are either being diplomatic or being selfish. The opposite of Libra is Aries. Now, Mars doesn't really like to be in Libra because Mars is the ruler of Aries. Mars wants to take quick action and just get rid. But Libra's like, we gotta win more bees with honey than vinegar. So we have to be careful. Now, the reason why this is uncomfortable is because Mars entering Libra is going to make an exact opposition to Saturn and Neptune in Aries. Mars is the ruler of Aries, and it's making an opposition to its sign that it rules in the sign of in the rule by Saturn. Well, not ruled by Saturn, but in Saturn. So Saturn is in Aries, okay, which it doesn't really like to be in Aries. It is exalted in Libra, okay? Neptune is in Aries, and Mars, which is the planet that rules Aries, that doesn't like to be in Libra, is making an opposition to that Aries energy. This tells me with full moon activation, fire and air, you're going to need water. You're going to need softness. You're going to need gentleness. You're going to need ease. You're going to need compassion. You're going to need to be slow to act, slow to speak, because Mercury is still retrograde in Leo. So I would be very slow to speak because Mercury in a fire sign is quick words that can cut. Okay, that can inspire, but that can also cut. And we're going to have to just be very aware of other people who might have a quick fuse, who might be lacking discipline and balance in their life. And we're going to have to take a step back to conserve our energy and to just soften. Whenever you have air and fire combustion in this way, you're going to need an element to help it out. And water is a great element. Earth is a great element too of being practical, but water is going to be a great element of kind of diffusing a lot of this fire during this full moon. So again, for this full moon, a great way to work with this full moon energy is, yes, be aware of where you're not the same. You're not the same in the way you show up in groups. You're not the same in the way that you're moving in society. You're not the same in the way that you want to express yourself. but acknowledge how that newness might and can ruffle some feathers, and take a step back to also allow other people to step to the surface in their newness and where they're shining and where they have new ideas. And when things get bumpy, because they might with Mars and Libra, be aware of passive aggression within yourself and within other people, and then take a step back to take that passive aggression of, okay, there's some uncomfortable energy happening within a person. Let me take a step back, conserve my energy, right? And allow things to blow over. Because once we get to the 11th, we are going to have some beautiful energy with Jupiter in Cancer, Mercury stationing direct, and Jupiter is going to be making a really nice aspect to Venus and Jupiter, which is then going to ease some of the bumps in the road pertaining to our relationships and what we can attract when we are moving from that place of optimism, that place of understanding, and that place of just connection and collectiveness. So, with that being said, use this full moon as a personal reflection for yourself and where things are changing for you internally and where you want to express that, and be mindful with this retrograde of Mercury of how you are expressing that newness, how you are expressing that change, but don't shy away from the change. Understand that this change is necessary and needed for you to be of better use in the collective energy, especially with Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. So take note to what's coming to the surface for you. Take note to what is bothering you. Okay. And then with Jupiter in the sign of Cancer, take internal change of what you need to better nourish yourself, to better nourish your emotions, to better nourish your action. Okay. So that you are in harmony, balance, and ease in your external relationships. All right, everyone. That is all I have for this lovely full moon in Aquarius. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Feel free to set your consultation. And I cannot wait to get back in contact and touch with you all for our next Astro video.